All right, my friends, J.R. Dukes with you. I want to extend a very warm welcome to all my free-minded friends. And today we have another interesting topic to dive into. So we're going to get the ball rolling right now. We all remember this woman, sweet Fani Willis. Well, today we're going to discuss an article from the New York Post showing what I believe amounts to prima facie evidence of the corruption between DA Fani Willis and her lover, paramour, prosecutor, attorney Nathan Wade that we all are very familiar with at this point. Well, the breaking news today and the news story we're going to look at and the relating documents are kind of all breaking right now. And it shows clearly Nathan Wade's unprecedented financial gains and now apparently his losses during his time as the so-called RICO case moved forward. He brought and Willis brought against our beloved president, former President Donald Trump. Now, let's remember, folks, this whole thing started, we're just going to call it the RICO case because that's what they have called it, was brought forth by the corrupt District Attorney Fani Willis, the Biden administration, and their groupies, aka the woke. I just all call them the deep state. They have been engaging in this new term for the year called lawfare against President Donald Trump. As we discussed many times in this program, this case is yet another example of what we can refer to as the true election interference. Now, except the election interference was not committed by former President Donald Trump, but it's being committed by this group of radicals with their own political agendas and ambitions. They don't care about what this does to our country. They only are concerned with advancing their own ideology and making us all live in a way and manner they believe is just. The real RICO seems to be collaborative efforts of the deep state, in this case more specifically Fulton County DA Fani Willis, her lover and partner in crime attorney Nathan Wade, and their flunkies. Remember, Nathan Wade was removed from this case due to his and Willis's actions of impropriety, as was proven to Scott McAfee, the judge in this particular case. This all raises serious questions about the legitimacy of this entire prosecution, or, in my mind, the persecution of President Donald Trump. Now, DA Fani Willis, without proper authorization from Fulton County in the first place, remember, she just hired him herself on her own whim, hired Nathan Wade as the special prosecutor, paying him a huge and hefty sum of at least $750,000. Now, some published reports have this going all the way up to $1 million. Much evidence has surfaced showing lavish spending by Wade on Willis, the lovers, including multiple vacations, trips, cruises, dinners out, and expensive gifts. This clear financial benefit to DA Fani Willis, well, it raises many red flags and clearly points to and highlights their illegal activities and schemes to defraud the taxpayers of Fulton County and, frankly, the taxpayers of the United States, because they also receive not just state funds, but apparently federal funds, specifically leftover COVID funds from the federal government. Now, let's shift our focus to Nathan Wade's current issue, rather his current divorce going on between him and his soon-to-be ex-wife, Jocelyn Wade. Well, we talked about this the other day, and now apparently there's an article. Nathan Wade has come forward, and he's seeking emergency help from the court. Nathan claims he can't meet court-ordered obligations due to losing his job at the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. This sudden financial downturn is suspicious considering Wade's newfound wealth during the Trump prosecution. In my mind, I'm thinking, how could Nathan Wade spend up to $1 million in cash? Again, it depends on what news source is true and who's reporting it accurately, but it was a substantial amount of money. How could he spend up to $1 million in cash and not have some type of assets to show for it? I understand that he spent a lot of money on sweet Fani. You know, he has to take good care of her, right? But let's face it, $1 million gone in 24 months and no discernible assets to show for it. That is suspicious in my mind. Now, there has to be something else going on here. As the judge has said, Judge Scott McAfee, There's clearly an odor of mendacity in this situation also, not just pertaining to Fani Willis and having her removed off the case. In my opinion, Nathan Wade's sudden wealth and inability to support his family are glaring signs of corruption and another attempted fraud on the court, and frankly, a fraud on his wife and children at this point. The fact that he came into such wealth through collaboration with Willis only solidifies my suspicion that the prosecution of Donald Trump was driven by financial gain rather than looking for justice or whatever they consider justice. Think of it this way. It has been shown from many documents that we have discussed on this very program and reviewed on this very program that the evidence I have shined a light on has clearly shown Nathan Wade has a history of trying to hide his assets from his wife. What I'm talking about here is the way he has formed and terminated and changed many of his companies, specifically his law practice. We have talked about it on this very program. Generally, when you see that type of behavior, that's evidence of somebody trying to hide assets. It's kind of like shifting it around and guessing what they own or what they don't own. It's clear to me that this ongoing divorce proceeding between Nathan Wade and his wife is that Nathan Wade is apparently a man of very limited means, and that this opportunity given to him by his partner in crime, sweet DA Fani Willis, just shows that the money they reaped from the taxpayers was the primary factor in their decision to try to take down President Donald Trump. Think of it this way. He has received a ton of money. I mean, these people have really milked it. Where are these assets? I'm guessing, Fani Willis says she keeps all her assets at home as far as her cash and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe Nathan Wade needs to check his home. It looks extremely suspicious to me, my friends. Let's take a quick look at this article from the New York Post and let's see what it has to say about Nathan Wade. Okay, it says, Nathan Wade pleading poverty, trying to cut alimony payments to his ex-wife after losing Trump prosecution jobs. And of course, that is according to court documents. Nathan Wade is pleading poverty since losing his prosecutorial role in the Donald Trump election fraud case and trying to avoid paying his estranged wife alimony, new court papers show. Wade forced to step down as the special prosecutor in the Georgia case following the revelation of his affair with District Attorney Fani Willis, says he can no longer afford to honor the terms of the temporary agreement he reached with his wife, Jocelyn Wade, less than 3 months ago, according to the filing. With the income from Wade's employment as special prosecutor no longer coming in and with income from his private practice being diminished, well, I can imagine it is diminished, he is no longer able to meet the financial obligations set forth in the temporary order. Wade's divorce lawyer, M. Scott Kilborough, wrote in papers filed Monday. Folks, remember, this guy here went up to his ex-wife who needs medical care. She needs all types of testing, and he promised to support his kids. He has a son that's over in Spain that he promised to support in writing to the authorities when his son entered the country of Spain. And now he's going to try to renege on each and every bit of that. And that is not their problem. This is his problem. So this guy seriously has some serious issues to deal with. And this is a picture of his wife, soon to be ex-wife, Jocelyn Wade, right there. So it's pretty bad. Wade is being paid, or I should say was being paid, $250 an hour by the Fulton County District Attorney for prosecuting the case against Trump over a dozen co-defendants. During the investigation into his affair, it was revealed that he made over $700,000. And remember, there's different reports and different amounts. All right. So let's just say $700,000 to $1 million while working for the DA, and had spent thousands on lavish trips for himself and Fani to the Caribbean, Central America, and California. They had a lot of fun together. Wade's filing comes in response to Jocelyn, his wife of more than 20 years, accusing him last week of refusing to pay child support for their 2 kids, money for rent, and for her urgent medical procedures. She claimed she spent all her money, which she would have used for much-needed surgery on their son and daughter after Wade abruptly cut them off, telling them to get the money from their mother, the papers claim. Jocelyn was left with less than $1,000 a month after Wade stopped paying her, and she needs funds to pay for her declining health, which also prevents her from working, she alleges. Wade broke his promise to help financially support his son's bid to go pro as a soccer player in Europe and pay for his daughter's rent and support as she prepares for her medical college admission exams, Jocelyn claimed. Jocelyn's attorneys even asked the judge to throw Wade behind bars until he forks over the money he owes. And trust me, the courts will throw you in jail if you do not pay what you are obligated to pay. Wade and Willis came into the national spotlight when Trump's co-defendant Michael Roman outed them for the romantic relationship in court papers in January, seeking to boost Willis from the case over alleged misconduct. Jocelyn then subpoenaed Willis in the divorce case, claiming Wade was skimping on his support payments while treating Willis to fancy vacations. Basically, what she's saying is, she's out spending my money. Sweet Fanny's out spending my money, and I want my money now. Willis didn't end up testifying in the divorce case, though, after Wade and his wife reached a temporary settlement weeks later. And of course, now that's all coming undone. The two prosecutors, however, did end up having to testify in court about their relationship in the Trump case. They admitted to being together for a time, but claimed their tryst didn't begin until after Willis hired Wade. We know that's a bunch of you know what. Duell also claimed they roughly split the cost of their vacations, with Wade fronting the bills on his credit card and Willis repaying him her portion in cash. Still, Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee said even the appearance of wrongdoing by Wade and Willis was enough that one of them had to step down. Wade resigned the same day as McAfee's decision. That wasn't exactly correct. If Wade did not step down, then he was going to dismiss the entire Fulton County team. But I know what they're trying to say there. Trump and many of his co-defendants are appealing McAfee's decision and are asking the higher court to force Willis off the case. The Georgia Court of Appeals has yet to say whether it will hear the case before trial. A lawyer for Jocelyn didn't immediately return a request for comment Wednesday morning. Well, there you have it. I think the takeaway here, folks, is real simple. You have a guy like Nathan Wade who clearly has never made this type of money in his entire life. This is basically like winning the lottery for him. And it just shows, at least in my mind, it shows how essentially him and Fancy Willis hit the lottery with this case. They saw an opportunity to milk the taxpayers, and that is exactly, in my humble opinion, what they did. They saw dollar signs, folks, and at the same time they said, hey, we're going to go ahead and make a name for ourselves. We're going to become famous. We're going to be the people in the history books as the individuals that brought down Donald Trump and prevented you and me from having the right to vote for the person we think we should be able to vote for. And that, my friends, is the real election interference. I always tell you, I encourage you to develop your own evidence, to check out the conclusions that I state for yourself. See if you agree with my conclusions and my decisions. And of course, Lord willing, I will continue to stay upon this case as I have from the beginning, because this is the case that keeps on giving. My friends, it's always a pleasure when you join me. I always say, keep that mind free, never give up. And until next time, I am J.R. Dukes.